Hi, I'm Patrick Townley at ptlarts.com. I'm really pleased today to have the wonderful John Cormican, who's an extraordinary sculptor. You can see on the screen sitting behind John, this fantastic piece that he's made, a whole project which I'm hoping he'll tell us a little bit about. John's worked for 33 years as a commercial artist and in different fields, which I'm hoping he'll explain to us a bit about some of the fields that he's worked in. I had a really extensive experience of working in the commercial arts for all of that time, and now he's launching a career as a solopreneur, basically. A solopreneur in the art world. So pleased that John's agreed to talk to me today. And so I'm just going to ask you, John, the first thing I'm going to ask, if you could just fill us in a little bit about your flight path to get you to where you are now.
I love that expression. It does. It feels like a flight path. No, I don't know if I built it up before I started. It's been an incredible journey, Patrick. Absolutely incredible journey. As you said, 33 years. I started off I live in Brixton in South London, and I started off in Brixton as making models with an extremely talented model maker, and our two paths came together through a mutual friend, and it was really nice. He was a self-taught sculptor. I've never been taught sculpture, and he had so much confidence in me in what I could do, not on the basis of what he saw. I'd done a few little things, just stuff you do in your own home, but he recognised a talent in me, and I think my family would say, well, we saw it all along, John. We saw it from when you was a child at school. I never believed in myself that much, but it was great to have someone put some faith into me, and I embarked on this model making career. It was very successful for the pair of us, although we fell out on a business level after about a year. Still friends, a lovely guy, you know, Gary Chapman. I really, it was great to meet him, but I'd done a little bit of college in graphics, studio practice and design. It was at the then Hounslow Borough College, and it's now West Thames College. And so I had been taught in certain ways of how to behave in the art world from a graphics point of view. And he was very much a cavalier artist, and so we struggled a little bit about how to do things, and so it was a bit of a shock for that to come to an end, because I thought, oh, we could really go places, you know, when you've got that combination of two slightly opposing things that can really set about great creativeness, and but yeah, we went our separate ways, and then I stumbled. And I mean, if you've ever stumbled walking along, it's not graceful, and it's a bit of a cacophony of mistakes. But I literally stumbled on the film business in 1980. I'm going to say 85. I think it's 85 or 86. And that was, what can I say? It was. I wasn't looking for it. And I suddenly found myself in a place where a lot of people had been looking really wholeheartedly to join the film business in special makeup effects. It wasn't something I even knew about it. I remember a couple of years prior to that, I'd seen some film, American Werewolf in London, and I was in Chicago. So I was an Englishman in America watching this American Werewolf in London. And I remember seeing there's a scene in it where they go in really close to a special makeup effect, and you'd just never seen anything like it, where the camera just stayed on this conversation while this guy was eating egg and chips and he had half his face falling off. And I was like, how on earth do they do that? And I remember seeing Star Wars and seeing Yoda. Thinking, how do they do that? And then ended up in that very business that I wondered, how did they do that? I took no interest in it at the time, but then found myself later on learning the trade through some really kind people. Gosh, I feel my journey, which I talked about fastening my seatbelt, was quite a bumpy ride, but littered with extremely talented and generous people. So I was thinking of Jeff Porter's. There was a guy who mentored me in the art of special makeup effects, prosthetics, creature effects, and surrounded by artists that just blew me away. I mean, I carried a picture of one particular artist, Paul Catlin, carried a picture of him working on a sculpture in my my Filofax, which was a thing that we had before smartphones. I just set my sights on great people and thought I want to be a great artist like them, and that continued. And I did successful in the film business, because I won an Emmy, which I know is not something that happens to everyone. Great experience, and then found myself for a long time being very good at portraiture, and the mecca of portraiture for me at that time was Madame Tussauds, where I would spend a week in films working on a look-alike sculpture, and I knew at Madame Tussauds at that time in the 80s and 90s they'd spend like 6 months on a sculpture, and I remember contacting them on various occasions, and one time being asked, so do you think you could spend 3 months on one sculpture? And I was like, oh please, let me try. Just this idea of you do something and you have a short space of time to do it in. What would it be like if you had a larger space of time to do it in?
I see.
And so, but it wasn't for a long time before the opportunity came where me and Madame Tussauds came together, and I worked there for 8 years, and then I found myself out of there since last year, embarking on this new venture.
Wow, that's an incredible story, John. It's really amazing. So it's just interesting to just pick up on a few of these things, because that whole process I'm going through is like talking a lot about the creative process, or what actually holds us back from doing what we want. So some really interesting points that you brought out there that I'd like to sort of just explore a bit further. One was like how you've managed to, like, the good fortune you've had to work with some really incredibly talented people over the years is one thing, isn't it? Being open to that, but also that you said that you didn't initially, this whole thing about the self-confidence, like confidence in yourself. So how do you feel you're at with that? How would you relate like the creative process, i.e. making a sculpture, for example, like the one behind you, or any of the work that you've done with like and then the self-confidence bit? You know, you would have never thought, your family would have said that you were you mentioned about your family talking about your self-confidence, you know, would tell you, but you wouldn't have that. So I'm just wondering if you can piece a bit more about that together.
How might it's interesting, self-confidence in what you do. Yeah, that's been a bump. That would be a bumpy journey, I would have thought, for me. I don't know. It's kind of like where I am at the moment, which is after many years, I came to a point where I couldn't lie to myself anymore. I was good. I was talented, creative person, and there's modesty and humbleness, and then there's false modesty and false humbleness, and I started to realize, you know, even though, and I still to this day, there is that struggle, but I feel like that's part of who I am, a welcome part of who I am, because it's in a nice proportion. So now I can really enjoy my creativity, enjoy my talent, and that smaller part of myself, which is uber critical, uber in the German sense, you know, extremely hypercritical of my work, is a very dear close friend of mine that I keep close by me. But it's not the so when I was starting, that would have been the loudest voice in my head, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So now it's through continued professional, through a continued professional career, that voice it got beaten into size, into a size that was manageable. And now I feel like, and now I'm talking about not some beast that needs managing, but a close friend of mine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make complete sense. And it's just interesting because the whole conversation, or the whole idea that I have a lot of people having conversations with me. Either there's one argument which I find it, you know, I'm battling against, if you like, that some people say they're creative or not creative. And so I do wonder, from my own experience, really, that this notion, this black or white thing, is like deluded. It's deluded. Like all of the possibilities are within us, and at some point in people's lives, I just was interested picking up on what you were saying. You know, it's possible that your parents or your peers do actually turn around and crush your aspirations, as opposed to like support them. That's another thing that can happen. So like that beast, if you like, is locked away in a cupboard, or I don't know how to put it, but I suppose that's what I'm trying to encourage people to explore, their creativity related to a healthy, to do with a healthy way of living your life, so that it's not, yes. So it's that confidence in, which is interesting, isn't it? If you like own what you can do, and you say, yes, I am talented. Yes, I do, for me, like, do great paintings. I'm a great painter. I do great paintings. That there's this cultural thing, especially for us in this culture that we're in, the British culture, that it's big-headed, arrogant, or that actually it's like owning what you can do. So you can say, yes, I can do this, but then what? Yes, you've got that talent, but then is the next question. So it's kind of my next question. One of my questions, they've all sort of like changing as we're talking, but is yeah, vision, really. So what, because that's the way I think it's the way forward. What is your vision? What is your vision for the next 5 years? I know I've plucked that out of the air. Say 5 years, because I'm sure you've thought about it.
I haven't thought about it quite so structuredly, if that's a word. It's great to talk to you, Patrick, because you're quite inspirational in terms of nurturing that seedling that I felt I came to you at a very early point in my embarking of this new career, because of your passion to nurture people's creativity and set them on their way. That's something that I'm enjoying experiencing, getting from you, Patrick. So and here you are again, nurturing and pushing me to think 5 years from now.
Oh, come on. What's happened? Oh, we've locked out.
This feels like this is almost like my third career.
Yes.
So this is like my third career. So and again, I'm thinking I'm planning on being successful, and so I have got a plan. And where do I see myself as a successful fine artist, making a living out of producing artwork, having dedicated my life to extreme hard work for those 33 odd years. I'm wondering at a rather what feels like a late age in life, can I turn that on now for me? And so in 5 years' time, I'm hoping to have and to carry on battling with any demons that get in the way between me and that dream of where I would like to be in 5 years' time as a successful artist. When I say demons, I just mean negativity, you know, anything that gets between me and my cherished dream. So does that answer your question? Where would I?
Yeah, it does. It does. This, yeah, because I think it's by developing a vision, I'm developing a vision myself. It helps me to, when the negativity, it helps me think, well, you know, part of the process of actually doing any, like you mentioned, like all of the hard work, extreme hard work you've done over the last 33 years, you know, it's, again, it's, you know how to do extreme hard work. It's like extreme hard work, but it's like for you as well. You've mentioned that about being for you, but at the same time, it isn't just for you, is it?
What, the work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that, I mean, you've just hit on that. The whole point of what I want to do is I want to touch other people's lives, which as a commercial artist, you're making a living. And if the work that you're doing is touching other people's lives, which it does in various ways, obviously in film, it does, and an attraction like Madame Tussauds, it touches people's lives. But to actually speak to people, this is what I feel like. This feels like an accumulation of all what I've always wanted to do. So that's great. That feels like this is my mission, if you like, is to realize this. There was this thought I had that it was a bit like my sensitivity with how I am with me and my work, which I'm presuming people who are watching this might have a sensitivity as an artist, is like I see it almost like as a little seedling that needs nurturing, and you used the word crushed, I think, which is like shows its sensitivity, this artistic sensitivity, which now for me is quite robust. My own artistic sensitivity, it's not indestructible, and I still, as I said, you know, I'm still, I feel like a newborn right at the beginning, which is great, isn't it, to have a long career and then start fresh. I mean, fresh is a great thing, isn't it? And I feel fresh because this is new to me, this battling with who I am, what I want to say, and how I'm going to say it.
I think, yeah, so what I'm sort of kind of moving, yeah, as the conversation goes on, it's this whole picture. So again, for anyone, you know, people that get to watch this over the next, like, you know, in the near future or over the next 6 months or a year, which of course, like on YouTube, is completely possible, that it'll be there for a while for people to look at. Anyone who's looking at it, it's like the whole idea of being an artist that is like either selling work or not, artwork online, or involved in the fine art world or whatever it is, which actually they're all have some sort of connection, that it's about the whole of your life. I mean, I think that your sensitivity is clear by she's behind you firing the arrow. The subtle sensitivity of your artwork is not in question, and I think that is the case with a lot of people's artwork. It's just like combining that with the self as like, so the point that moves things forward is when it's like part of your whole, so it's like you're sharing the whole of your life. Your artwork is a manifestation of the sensitivity, but the whole of your life is what that's like the newborn, if you like, is that you haven't got, you've done all the work you need to do to create your fantastic artwork. You know how to do that. And then, so the next thing is like, it's John Cormican is there, you know, willing to talk to people, shake hands, share your life with others, maybe.
Yeah, because you're at the end of the day. I mean, even this, me sitting here talking to you that's not me being comfortable, but it's, I feel like I would do literally anything if it enables someone else to have success in in any endeavor, isn't it? And so we're talking about a very specific thing, the artwork. But I mean, this would be the same for, I would encourage, you know, whatever someone's wanting to embark on. Part of me feels like I'm literally doing this. I'm doing it for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is I want to encourage people that one is never give up, isn't it? So through my career, I've seen what happens if you keep going, and some of the successes that have followed on from that. So I know that ethic of just keep going. And then as a Buddhist, there's this the Buddhism I practice with the SGI UK is very much about never being defeated, being invincible, unbeatable. So with a spirit that is unbeatable, if you can nurture that along with your creativity, because I'm just thinking someone who's watching this who might not be where I am, but is hoping to, it would be like, all you have to do almost is just keep going. I did a bit of teaching in my time as a freelancer, someone who's you know, as a commercial artist. One of the things to earn money I do is teaching, and I really enjoyed that. I loved it, but I actually didn't want to be a full-time teacher. But I used to stay to students, and I taught in colleges. I taught in effects courses, some prestigious, all manner of things. But when I was teaching, I would say, roll out this thing. I'll see if I can do it now, where I'd say, and I have to count on my hands because I'm not good with numbers, but I say it's 70% determination, 20% luck, and 10% talent for success. So I'm only sort of joking with people. I'm not saying that that's exactly what I think and that's exactly the proportions. It's just putting the emphasis on determination, because I saw there's people who are determined in the fields that I've been involved in. and they were determined. Perhaps not the best, but determined, and that's was the defining success ingredient. And so, and then I'm saying 20% luck. So as a Buddhist, I believe you create your own good fortune. So I don't know if that makes sense as a concept, but yeah, you've got to make efforts and take steps. No one's going to knock on your door and say, hi, I'm your new career. Hi, I'm your new relationship. Hi. You have to go out and find these things, isn't it? But and then my joke is and 10% talent. But I think that's because I don't know. I really do think talent is something that is you can perfect, and you can start off with a small amount, modicum amount of talent, but with extreme determination and effort, you can expand that into mind-blowing talent, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. So it is. I've been I've been teaching, although I'm incredibly new. I'm like a 5-year-old newborn as opposed to completely newborn. So it is newborn for me. And yes, the practice of Buddhism underpins so much of what's been happening. But through teaching, it's just that I just notice is that it's exactly what you said, is that the talent's a bit of a, actually, if you just keep doing something, you, like for painting, for example, it's a bit like, so if I'm painting a portrait, I'm sure you do it. So I mean, I just wanted to ask you about your process. Just for me, for example, if it's about the relationship between a nose and a mouth, you know, that is so subtle. This relationship is that like it happened to me just recently. I've just finished like a couple of days ago a painting of John Lennon, and another one. I've done a few because I keep selling them, which is great. But the relationship between the nose and the mouth, and I've been saying when I'm teaching people, don't get hooked on thinking that something's right. Don't suddenly think that, oh, actually, there's a part of the face which is right, because invariably it will lead you up a blind alley. So I've been doing this and I just couldn't figure out what was wrong. I knew, I could feel in my heart there was something that wasn't right about it. And then sure enough, what had happened was I thought his nose was perfect. And I suddenly realized that his nose was about like 1.5 millimeters too long. And it just, the minute I just put a few brush marks in and changed where this nose was, it was suddenly John Lennon was John Lennon and not somebody who looks quite like John Lennon. It just changed. And it was just, but through doing those marks with the nose and the mouth, I'll do it 1,000 times easily. I'll just be doing the same marks over and over and over again, because I'm building this relationship with something. And I kind of take that idea into like building a business, building like your social media platforms, your connections with people. After all, when you meet somebody in the street, you sort of like get these opinions to start with, and then when you start to have dialogue, that develops and changes continually, and then you get deeper and deeper and deeper into knowing. So in a sense, that's what's happened to you. You've gone, your art practice, it's like translating what you've learned through your art practice. It's the same thing, the processes that you've been taught. So to encourage anyone who's watching that want to sell their work online, art online, or sell their artwork generally, or just even get it out the drawer and stick it on the wall, you know, that it is, this internal battle is where it all belongs. It's not like, you know, John's been touched by a famous sculptor, and then he makes, you know, it's not like that at all. It's something else, isn't it? So
Isn't it?
there's one, I mean, please say more. It's just one thing that I wanted to finish off, really, which I want to explore with everybody that I interview, is, without naming it, really, how can I just, yeah, what can you, when you're in the middle of making, like, doing your work, actually sculpting, it's like that, what happens when you're, like, in the process of what I presume, and again, it's a battle, isn't it? It's all a battle, but you love what you really love doing, like sculpting.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about the zone. I guess there's one description that people talk about a zone. So I talk about it as a zone because it reminds me of Andrei Tarkovsky film called Stalker. They talked about this zone. There's a famous old film. Check it out sometime anyway. Andrei Tarkovsky, it's brilliant. But the zone, yeah. Do you have, or how would you describe that?
Wow. Yeah. My background forces me to recollect how, as a commercial artist, so someone who's been paid by big business, if you like, to produce, wants my zone on tap. And you know, and it has a whole system, managerial system and layers to ensure that I produce. And it was and so as an artist, it would be like, oh, I can't go, I'm not feeling it right now. I had to just produce. Yes. So that required, which is a really important point I'd like to make, is that required me to maneuver every part of me into being able to produce, so that and to get into the zone. And my work, because I ended up being a senior sculptor at Madame Tussauds, I would have to go and critique other people's work who were doing hair, colouring, in the mould shop, all the other different aspects of making a wax figure. And so it's no good me saying, oh, I can't come and see you right now, I'm in my zone. I have to go and drop what I'm doing and pay attention to other people, which as a Buddhist is nothing makes me happier, and encourage other people, and then come back. I'm not in the zone. I had to be able to turn that zone on and off like that in the commercial world. So to me, the zone is it's a beautiful, treasured place that if you can find yourself in, whatever it takes, you do it, isn't it? And so it's I'm just trying to think now, when I'm in the zone, I'm just a word that pops into my mind is complete. I'm at one with what I'm supposed to be doing, really, is what it feels like. So along the way, there's been a lot of battle with that, a huge amount of battle with that. So I'd really just encourage them, if you want that, then you dedicate yourself to it, you'll get it, you'll find it. And if I could go back, you know, those conversations, or what would you say to your 16-year-old self? What would you say to your 26-year-old self? It's just, all your dreams, John, of where you would like to be artistically, you are going to get there without a shadow of a doubt. So I'll be saying that to anyone who is listening now, is like, if you want to, and you're prepared, and I said extreme hard work, which is what my background is. I mean, I could knock your socks off with how ridiculously hard I've worked over my career, and things I've put I've sacrificed for. But if you're determined, which is what I said earlier on, then you will achieve dreams the like of which you can't imagine, I think.
That's brilliant, John. That's brilliant. So yeah, just to sort of that the point that I was edging towards, which you articulated beautifully, is yeah, it's not this thought of, oh, I just can't feel it to do it, is like fight it, because it's like it's a case of like, I think the hard work, the consistently working, like having some sort of system in place where you're approaching your work on a regular basis is really important. So if you're like got a full-time job and you're doing some, which is completely not related to your artwork, and you're doing it like now and then, is to be more rigorous, really. So to make, if you're finding, well, I do it and then it just drops off, then the first thing to do is just say, even if it's like 2 or 3 times a week, that you actually engage yourself in what you're doing. There isn't another way other than like hard work. But it's worth it. It's, yeah.
Isn't it, Patrick? If we were talking about any other discipline, martial arts, music, yes, dance, ballet, whatever it would be, is that the people at the successful, impressive people practice. It has to become so second nature to you, and there's no way around that, really, is it?
No, there's no way around it, and but it is worth it, and but there isn't a way around it. So there isn't a clever trick, watch this video and you'll be a famous artist tomorrow type thing.
Although, do you not think I watch and learn off the internet? It's all out there. I've learned, and I'm learning off. Right now, I'm learning off a YouTube tutorial. This guy, he's super young. To me, I'm 58. He's like in his 20s, I think. He's an exceptional sculptor.
Yeah.
Huh?
Wow.
And I'm learning off. I'm just learning so much. There's more now at your fingertips than ever before. Whereas before it was a bit there was a lot of closed doors to all this knowledge. Whereas now the doors are open, and so whatever you want to do, there'll be someone who will be able to give you some guiding steps towards you achieving what you want.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant, John. So thank you so much for talking to me today. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope lots of people get to watch it. I certainly share it all over the place. Continue to share it, and eager to follow the great John Cormican's flourishing career, as it's bound to flourish with everything that we've heard him talk to us about. It's bound to he'll be all over we'll be seeing him all over. So a great privilege to be able to talk to you, John.
Thank you so much. You're such an inspiration to me. Thank you.
And so finally, if you've really enjoyed this on YouTube, then give us a thumbs up. If you don't like what I'm talking about, give us a thumbs down. Give John Cormican a thumbs up, whatever. Me get the thumb down, not John. And comments down below, anything that you would like, any reflections on some of the stuff we talked about, any questions, whatever it is, please have a look. So I'm on ptlarts.com is my website. So go on there, have a look, stay in contact. There's loads of stuff happening. and more and more and more going to be happening. So thank you, John.
Thank you, Patrick.